The training yard fell silent the moment she stepped forward. Dust swirled in the late afternoon sun, clinging to her boots as she carried the massive Barrett .50 across her shoulder like it weighed nothing. Soldiers glanced at her, some with respect, most with doubt. For years, whispers followed her like shadows, that she was only a paper soldier, too fragile, too quiet for the brutal demands of war. Yet there she stood, unshaken, her gaze steady on the horizon. And when the general arrived, no one could predict what his eyes were about to land on. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The general was a towering figure, his chest glittering with decades of medals, his presence commanding silence. He walked the line of recruits with slow, deliberate steps, his boots crunching against gravel. When he passed her, he barely glanced, at first. Just another soldier, another hopeful face. But then, his gaze flickered down. On her vest, gleaming faintly in the sun, was the sniper badge. Not an ordinary mark of qualification. This one carried a number etched in cold steel. 3,200 meters. That he froze. His eyes narrowed. The entire yard seemed to stop breathing. Soldiers exchanged confused glances, trying to understand why the general, a man who never faltered, had halted mid-step. For her, those seconds stretched into an eternity. Memories flooded back. The long nights in foreign mountains, the wind cutting through her bones, her trembling hands steadying against the cold steel of the rifle. The impossible shot, a target farther than most dared to attempt, taken under conditions that would make even veterans walk away. She remembered the silence after the bullet found its mark. Not triumph, not celebration, just silence, and the knowledge that a life had ended because she did not miss. The general's voice broke the stillness. It was quiet, almost a whisper. 3,200 meters? A murmur rippled through the line. Some scoffed, thinking it a mistake. Others widened their eyes in awe. She didn't speak. Her silence carried more weight than any boast could. The general's hand hovered over the badge, but he didn't touch it. His face hardened, then softened in a way no one expected. He had commanded thousands of soldiers, seen bravery in its purest and darkest forms. But in that moment, staring at the small figure before him, he saw something rare, the quiet burden of someone who had given more than her share. She thought he would question her, maybe even strip her of the honor. But instead, he turned to the gathered soldiers. His voice rose, steady and commanding. You measure strength by noise, by who shouts the loudest, who carries the heaviest load. But real strength, he gestured toward her, is carried in silence, in stillness, in choices no one ever wants to make. The recruits fell into hushed stillness. No laughter, no whispers, just the echo of truth settling like dust at their feet. She lowered her eyes, unsure if this was recognition or judgment. Then it happened. The general saluted her. Slow, deliberate, unwavering. A salute not given out of formality, but respect. The crowd of soldiers erupted, not in chaos, but in something rare, thunderous applause, born from understanding. For the first time, she wasn't the shadow at the edge of the ranks. She was the center in that single act, her years of doubt. And isolation cracked open, replaced by a fragile but undeniable light. Because respect isn't handed down by rank. It's earned in silence, through choices no one sees, and scars no one forgets. And sometimes, the quietest warrior is the one who changes the room. Because courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, steady as a trigger pull. Across 3,000 meters of doubt. So what do you think? Should silent heroes like her finally be recognized for the burdens they carry? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if stories of courage, justice, and resilience move you, make sure to subscribe and join this community. We tell stories not just to remember, but to honor.